Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today I have to review a board game for class, so I'm going with LEGO BIONICLE, The Quest for Makuta. Now in this game you play as one of the 6 Toamata as you explore the island of Mata Nui and try to defeat Makuta. So let's get into the details of this game. So first you have the 6 playing chips. Now I bought this game used, so I do not have the green one, unfortunately. Now this is a pretty simple roll and move game. You start out with a d6 and you roll it. I got 6, which is actually terrible for this intro part. But you basically move your Toa up to whatever number you rolled. As you're exploring the island, there are 6 different tokens that you can step on. Here, for example, is the Nui Rama, which is a dragonfly. Now this is one of the Rahi, or evil animals, that I have to battle to get further in the island. Now I turn it over and it has a strength of 2. Very simple battle mechanics. I now attack it by rolling this die. I got a 5, which means that I won, and now that is no longer on the board, and we can move freely through that space. The Nui Jaga is a scorpion, which is the middle-leveled Rahi that you can fight in this game, while the Muaka, the tiger, is the strongest. Now the ranges for the strengths of these 3 Rahi are 1 to 7, 7 to 13, and 13 to 20, meaning that the strongest non-boss enemy that you can fight in this game has a strength of 20. However, with a d6, you can only get up to 6. You can't beat 20 with 6 because it's a smaller number. I know very complicated math, so bear with me here, because there are bonuses that you can get that can add on to your number. So let's discuss that. Now, my favorite Toa from the original series is Onua, the Toa of Earth. So I'll be using his pawn and board for this review. Now on the Toa boards you have 3 sections. The first is for the masks, or Kanohi. The second is for the village elders, or Turaga. And the third is for the keys. The keys do not impact the battling, so we'll get to that later. Now for the Turaga, there are 6 different ones, one for each of the 6 elemental colors. When you find one on a board, it'll look like this. This is it upside down. Incidentally, this is also the Turaga that goes with Onua. So when I flip it over, it's Nuju. This is the Turaga of the Ice Village. So I will put him right here, and I would get a +5 added to whatever I roll. Now that's good, however, we can do better. This Turaga chip also has Wenua on the reverse, but if we flip it over, it's also Wenua, which means I get a +10. The Turaga that matches my Toa gives me a +10, while any other Turaga gives me a +5. With these two, I have a +15, and potentially can get a strength of 21, being able to beat the strongest Muaka. Now, we can only have 2 Turaga at a time, because there's only 2 spaces. The next boost we can get is the Kanohi. Now all of the Kanohi on the board have the Kanohi Howl as the reverse. So let's take a look at all 6 of the different Kanohi and what they can do. Now here I have included not just the tokens for the 6 different masks, but also the official LEGO pieces from the original Bionicle series. Now the 6 different masks are conveniently broken up into 3 different groups. So let's start with the first group. We have the Kanohi Howl, the red one over here, and this is the Mask of Shielding. Now with the Kanohi Howl in game, you get a +5 added to all of your attacks. This is very similar to an off-colored Turaga. The second one is the Kanohi Pakari. Now this gives a +10, because it is the Mask of Strength. The second set, the Kakama and the Cow do not directly affect your attack because the variable in battles is the die roll. These two masks allow you to use a different die. The Kakama allows you to use the red 8-sided die, and the Cow allows you to use the green 12-sided die. Now these are useful not just in combat, but also in exploring, because you can move much further each turn, potentially depending on what you roll. Now the last set is a special set, because both of these masks are one-time use. The first, over here, if I can stand it up, the Miru. This is the Mask of Levitation and allows a player to teleport to any free space on the board. Finally is the Akaku. This is the Mask of X-Ray Vision, and it allows you to take any one of another player's token given correct circumstances. So let me demonstrate that. Now on this board, I have the Toa Tahu and the Toa Onua. With Onua, I have the Kanohi Akaku, which means that since I am on the same game tile as Tahu, I can steal one of his chips, be it a Kanohi, a Turaga, or one of the keys. Then, I also get to roll my die one more time so that I can get away. Now, if I was over on this second board, I would not be able to use the Akaku to steal a token from the player that is using Tahu. Let's discuss how to explore and expand the game. You start at Toa Landing, which is one of the Toa canisters. You roll the die. Earlier I rolled a 6, so I will move 6 spaces. And for this demonstration, let's just assume that there are no tokens that are on the board or will be placed on the board. Now, I was not able to find in the rules a clear statement on whether or not you stop at the gates or continue through. So we usually play that you continue through. Now that I'm on the gate, I get to choose from the stack of boards. So I will pull the first one off, and this is what I have. So I now have to connect this board to this board, and one of these gates has to be connected right here. Here I get a little bit of strategic choice, because if I connect here, only a really strong player could get through. Same with down here. If I connect here or in the top left, most players should probably be able to get through, because it's only a Nuirama that is guarding that entrance. But I can rotate it in any direction that I would like. Let's say the player playing as Tahu comes back through this side and unlocks the gate this way, and they get over to here. They cannot get over to this tile because there are not two gates. Now eventually you'll discover the Temple of Makuta, which uses the canister lid from the original BIONICLE packaging. This is where the keys come in play. At each of the gates on the temple board is placed a lock. You can only reveal what is under the lock by coming at it from a certain direction. So with this, I need these 3 keys to be able to fight Makuta from this direction. If I were to come from this other direction, this is a different set of keys. So this is another point of strategy, because you can steal keys from your opponents. So almost every tile in this game has a spot for a key. If I were to land on this first one, I would get this key, which does work with this lock. Now I need to find the other 2. And I also keep this key face down on my Toa board so that other players don't know how close I am to completing the collection of 3 keys so that I can open the lock. Now there is also this special key, which is basically a wild card. Now this can be used for any of the keys in a lock combination. Now for a demonstration of fighting the final boss, Makuta. For this demonstration, I have selected 3 modestly powerful bonuses. A Kanohi How, which gives me +5, the Turaga Nuju, which gives me a second +5, and the Turaga Onua, which, since I'm playing as Onua, will give me a +10. This together puts me at a +20. So now I'm ready to fight Makuta. What I have to do is take the D6 and roll that. I get a 4. Now I have to rotate the temple clockwise 4 spaces. This is the second strongest that Makuta can be. There's a fun cheat sheet here showing the different strengths corresponding to the colors. Since it's blue, I have a very low chance of beating him. Well, okay, that was actually pretty convenient. That was my first roll. So, 26 is my strength, and also the strength of Makuta. Now, according to the rules, if I draw and have the exact same score as Makuta, which I did in this scenario, or if I roll less, then I have lost. In this case, I immediately lose one temple key, Kanohi, or Turaga. This item is chosen and taken from you by the player to the left, who places it face down on the start space. The player to your left also moves your Toa pawn to any space on the playing surface that is not occupied by another player or token. So this can cause some very big problems if you have a very competitive group. Alright, so let's try this. This time I have 2 Turaga Winuas, which gives me plus 20 total. I have 3 Kanohi Pikaris, which gives me an additional plus 30. And I have the Kanohi Cow, which allows me to roll a d12. Together, this gives me potentially the highest attack that I can have in the game, which is 62. Time to roll my d12. Again, another great first roll. So I am at 61 strength. According to this chart, it literally does not matter which Makuta I face. Now, I did miss this example earlier, but in the case of the Nui Rama, you can potentially have a 7, which cannot be beat with a d6. In the case that you lose, you would discard a Kanohi, Turaga, or a key, put it underneath the Rahi for the next victor to win, and you would also move back 1 space. If you tie, for example, if I get a 4 and the Nui Rama is also a 4, I simply move back 1 space. Here is a situation in which the game cannot progress, and in fact, the instructions do not discuss a way to get around this. In this scenario, no Toa can get past the Nui Rama that is here, because it's a 7, and the strongest that they can get is a 6. Now, as the Toa move over to the second game tile, they get stuck at that key, because you are not allowed to move diagonally. At this point, the game literally cannot continue. However, this is also the starting board, so the game could not have gotten very far. A bit of a moot point, but something I thought was interesting to share. So, this is what the entire board game looks like, all laid out accurately to the image of the island of Motunui. Alright guys, now as some of you may know, I'm currently the president of LEGO Club at Miami University. So we've been playing this game a lot, because it's a LEGO Club. And I can tell you guys without a doubt, because I've played this 2 people, I've played it 5 people, this game's terrible. It's just terrible. Only a few of us in the club are really into the BIONICLE lore. For us, it's more fun, but for everybody else, it's just kind of a pain. Setting up the board takes way too much time. It's very difficult to tell when the tokens are on the board and when they're not, because they're the same color, and they're all kind of that natural color tones. So for the first few times, it's pretty fun and enjoyable, but like with a lot of things, it's more fun if you have friends. Now, there are 2 different variant ways to play this game that we've tried out that I think are kind of fun. The first is every character gets their signature mask. So, like Tahu would start out with the Kanohi How, he'd get a +5. Onua would start out with a mask of shielding. Onua would start out with a mask of strength, which would be the Picari, and he would get a +10, and so on for the other ones. This turns out to be incredibly unbalanced. As I discussed earlier, the How and the Picari give just a solid attack boost. The Kakama and the Cow give a movement boost and also an attack boost. And the Akaku and the Miru are both one-time use and aren't really balanced very well. The second variant that we've tried is setting up the board game completely. Having the entire island set up as it's supposed to be and all of the chips on the board. This proved very difficult because there is a pretty bad difficulty spike. Somewhere near the beginning, there is a Nui Jaga that can potentially be too strong, and the only reason that we actually were able to finish that game is because two of the players in the game found a Kanohi Miru completely by chance, teleported way over here to the top corner, and basically worked their way back. They were ridiculously overpowered, it left nothing for anybody else in the game, and it wasn't really that fun. Now, I think potentially combining those two different variants of the game, that could be fun. I'm not sure. We honestly haven't tried that yet. But also by popular vote, I'm not allowed to bring this game back to club anymore because everybody hates it. So guys, with that, that concludes my review of BIONICLE, The Quest for Makuta, the adventure, the board game. Should be back to more woodworking videos soon.